So guys, about a week or two ago, I saw Ben Simmons clanking free throws that ultimately cost his team, the Philadelphia 76ers, their 2021 postseason.
Simmons misses on this floor in game one, remember, Simmons misses again.
And then, just a few moments ago, I saw headlines from multiple sites saying that Ben Simmons to the Warriors trade is too obvious after Bob Myers' latest comments. And then, as a Golden State Warriors fan, this is what happened to me next. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some huge mistakes the Warriors can make this offseason that could cost them their dynasty. I'll start with the first one, the one I just mentioned here, Ben Simmons. Now, I'm not hating on Ben Simmons or anything, and to be honest, aside from shooting, the man does everything else at a superstar level. He's a nearly triple-double machine. He has a good career field goal percentage at 56%, was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. Man, and that list could go on and on. He's a #1 pick for a reason, and despite being exposed for his shooting by the Hawks, Ben Simmons is still an elite player in the NBA. Now, despite how good Simmons is, however, the Warriors trading for Simmons would be catastrophic for the Warriors and would effectively end their dynasty. The reasons being are quite simple. First off, his fit with Draymond Green just wouldn't work. They're both just not great shooters.
Could it be that has started Ben Simmons shooting the jump shot now with some regularity? There it is right there.
Having Simmons and Green on the court at the same time would just clog the paint and make it harder for the Warriors to attack the rim. Ben Simmons and Draymond Green also play the same position on the court as the team's point forward, so having both of them on the floor would sort of cancel out each other's strength of passing and setting up plays. Man, it'd be a nightmare to watch on a daily basis, and my lifespan might decrease by 10% from all the stress. Next off, the Warriors would certainly have to give up Andrew Wiggins and one or perhaps both of the 2021 first-round picks.
This is big time. Just a great statement.
For a Warriors team whose weakness lies in a lack of scoring, losing a player who can slash to the rim, create his own shot, and space the floor with three-point shooting is just way too much. Which is why my head hurts from the mere fact that Bob Myers could even entertain such a trade. Ben Simmons is probably going to be working on his free throws all summer, but if that's not fixed, and teams decide to employ the hack-a-Ben again, it'll be a huge clink in the Warriors' armor. The 2016 first overall pick is a beast of a player, but you can't just force a square peg into a round hole. It just won't work. It'll cause dysfunction amongst the players and start a downward spiral that definitely won't end pretty. Ben Simmons isn't the only superstar the Warriors need to stay clear of, however. There's another superstar that seems to always find himself in Warriors trade rumors. That other player, just like Ben, is a great player, but his fit with the Warriors just wouldn't work. I'm talking about Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. Beal just came off a tight scoring title race with Steph Curry, who just narrowly edged him out. Beal averaged 31.3 points per game, and acquiring him seems like it would fix the scoring issues the Warriors have. But in all honesty, it just wouldn't work, and here's why. First off, Beal and Curry on the floor at the same time would just be too small. You can't win a championship where two of your best players are small guards. It just doesn't work. Just look what happened to Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. They made the Portland Trail Blazers a good team that made the playoffs for 8 consecutive seasons in a Western Conference that was a powerhouse. Yet, that's all they were able to become, a decent team that can make the playoffs. Once they entered the playoffs, the size became just too much, and other teams were able to capitalize on that.
Will have been eliminated 4 of the last 5 years in the first round, and that is it.
Looking back at the history of the NBA as well, in at least the last 20 years, no NBA team has won a championship where their 2 best players were below 6'3". For this size issue alone, I wouldn't trade for Bradley Beal, and I can guarantee that if the Warriors did acquire Beal for Wiggins, plus 1 or 2 of the 2021 picks, that this trade would effectively end the Warriors' dynasty. Another issue I have with Beal is his fit with Steph Curry. Beal's a high-usage guard. He had the 4th highest usage in the league, and the more time the ball spends in his hands, the less it's in Curry's hands. And that is the end of this discussion. Moving on, a big issue I have with most of the trades the Warriors could possibly make is that it would cost him Andrew Wiggins, plus perhaps a future star from the 2021 draft. With Klay Thompson coming back healthy, Andrew Wiggins would be the 3rd option, will average about 20 points per game on efficient shooting. Toward the end of the 2021 season, Wiggins seemed to finally have figured out his game with the Warriors, which is to shoot open threes and slash to the rim aggressively. He spaces the floor and cuts backdoor whenever defenders aren't careful.
With that pretty jumper as they find Wiggins. How about a pretty lob?
Wiggins finished off the year with his most efficient shooting percentages of his career at 48% from the field and 38% from three-point land. On the defensive end, he's the Warriors' best perimeter defender, who can also guard 1 through 4. He's locked down opposing superstars such as Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James. And what he does on the defensive end of the court cannot be overlooked. Andrew Wiggins might be viewed as overrated and overpaid by many NBA fans, but he fits in perfectly with what the Warriors need, and definitely fits in better with the Warriors than Ben Simmons or Bradley Beal. If the Warriors were peanut butter, Andrew Wiggins would be the jelly. On top of Andrew Wiggins being part of the trade, the Warriors would likely miss out on their number 7 pick as well, which will most likely be used on Davion Mitchell at this point. I see Davion Mitchell as a player who can come off the bench for about 15 to 20 minutes per game, and alongside Jordan Poole, these two can be quite a 1-2 punch when Steph and Clay are rested. The more and more highlights I see of Davion Mitchell, the more and more I like his game. He reminds me of the other number 45, Donovan Mitchell.
The shot he won and off the floor, it's Mitchell. 3-on-2. Races to the hole for 2.
Man-to-man defense, nothing very fancy. Come out, challenge your man-to-man.
Mitchell step back.
Davion Mitchell, last year in college, averaged 51% from the field and 44% from three-point land. This shows me that he's able to attack the rim at will and can knock down shots from the outside if defenders sag off him. On top of his offensive package, Mitchell was the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year and can be a real pest on the court, similar to what Patrick Beverley does to his opponents. Imagine Mitchell, Wiggins, Clay, and Green on the floor, all at the same time. Talk about lockdown. And speaking of Clay, when making a trade for a superstar, you have to also keep in mind that Klay Thompson is coming back, probably close to 100%, like how Durant did. And you have to also keep in mind that the 2020 number 2 overall pick, James Wiseman, is going to come back stronger, smarter, and better. If Klay Thompson, like Wiggins, is going to average about 20 points per game, and if an improved Wiseman is going to average about 15 points per game, then it's going to be hard for a high-usage guard like Bradley Beal to be effective and still drop 30 a game. And again, with Ben Simmons, having him on the floor with Draymond Green and James Wiseman is just going to shrink the floor so much and cause unnecessary issues for both Curry and Clay. Instead of focusing on trades that could end the dynasty, Bob Myers needs to be looking at veterans who can come in and help the Warriors on and off the floor. Rudy Gay is probably the best veteran available for the Warriors. He stands 6'8", could shoot it from the outside efficiently, and coming off the bench, he could provide a bit of stability for the Warriors' second unit.
Lonnie, back out. Rudy Gay's had it going and still does.
In addition, grabbing a decent center at a minimum contract would also be ideal. Chris Kumaje and Eddie Tavares are both 7'3" bigs who won the G League Defensive Player of the Year within the last 5 years. And either one of those two could come in off the bench and get easy buckets, similar to what JaVale McGee gave the Warriors a few years back. All in all here, guys, the Warriors don't need Simmons or Beal. However, that's not to say all superstar trades would be horrible for the Warriors. There are actually a few superstars who would actually restore the dynasty of the Warriors. I list them out here in this video. If Bob Myers could pull off one of these trades, the Warriors would be instant title favorites. And I might as well just pre-order some of that 2022 Warriors Championship gear. It's an intense video, guys. Click it, watch it, and I'll see you on the other side.